everyone, I'm Sandie La Nae. Welcome to Psychic Creations History Series. We have a very interesting show for you today. As you can see, we are on location at the Virginia, Nevada studios, Foothill Productions lot, and we are going to be talking with Doc Durden today, who owns this fabulous Western setting studios. Doc also emulates the actions of Wild Bill Hickok, who was a noted personality as a folk hero in America Old West. Please welcome to Psychic Creations History Series, Doc Durden.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's an honor to have you, and thank you so much for allowing Psychic Creations to come into your studio.
Isn't that kind of neat?
This is very nice.
I really enjoy this studio.
This is nice. Let me tell you, it's nice all the way around. Well, now, if you would you please tell our viewers all about yourself and your fascinating life?
Well, I was born very young.
I'm glad
Maybe
to hear
we
that.
don't want to go back that far.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I worked for Ford Motor Company for 35 years, and I retired at the age 55, right around the year of 2001.
Nice.
And immediately I went into the entertainment business. I had a little bit of experience off and on through my career with Ford Motor Company. However, I'm going to take you back when I was like 8, 9 years old.
Okay.
When my parents took me to Disneyland, which Disneyland was relatively new, and of course loved Disneyland. Who doesn't love Disneyland?
Exactly.
However, they took us to Knott's Berry Farm during that same week. And Knott's Berry Farm, you know, I'm thinking, you know, jelly, jams, and you know, didn't anticipate what Knott's Berry Farm had for me. And as soon as we entered the park, it was a complete Western town. And let me tell you, I was hooked immediately. Immediately, I was hooked. So from then on, I you know, everything was Western. It was just there's a story behind that, but it really takes too long to get into it. But the fact is that this is going back in the 50s, late 50s, and Knott's Berry Farm had this huge Western amusement park, and whether it'd be the train that circled the park, the overland stage, the cowboys that held up the stage, and also the train. It was just a complete full day of fun, and let me tell you, I was just, right there I was hooked. Right there I was hooked. I didn't want to be anything else other than a cowboy.
Oh,
And you know, I told my parents, I said, you know what, I'm staying, send mail, because I'm not leaving. This is the spot for me. And so from then on, I've been hooked on the West. I've seen all the movies.
Sure.
that's been out since the 50s. You know, Republic used to put those out every week, and I used to watch all of them. Matter of fact, I knew all the characters, so then I used to watch or view the stagecoaches and the architect and the buildings and everything else other than because I knew the characters anyway. So I just loved all the old buildings that Hollywood
sure.
used to make, and then of course been to Hollywood to Universal Studios to see how it was done right then and there, and yeah. So anyway, that was that kind of propelled me forward, and I'd done some things along the way while I was employed with Ford, and but it was I had an urban look, you know, and that was good. Not many people don't know the difference, you know.
I don't either.
Yeah, well, the urban look is like urban cowboy, and I think we're all familiar with that, with John Travolta and that type of look. All right. This look that you're looking at right now is a period look. Back in the day, this is how they dressed. I have a little.
Beautiful.
Now, I'm not 100% authentic. I like to go 20% Hollywood.
Well, why
You know,
not?
and by me doing that, my audience relates to me probably a little easier because I
Okay.
kind of dress a little bit like they would have on Hollywood production. So yeah,
okay,
when
good
you
point.
when you see it on TV or you go to the movies, you would see well. There'd be the Hollywood glitz and glamour
Okay.
that they always put in, and that's kind of like where I wanted to be. So that 20% is Hollywood, and I enjoy that. Hollywood, you know, there's a little bit of glitz and glamour on what I like to do. Anyway,
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
And you've been doing this for what, 30 years now?
I've been doing this since I was 8, 9 years
Oh,
old.
okay.
However, I've done, like I say, so a few things along the way, and I was involved in the 80s in the beer and wine festivals, and I used to make custom furniture. Well, and it was all Country Craft was the name of the business. So I used to dress in country clothes. It was an urban look, and what I would do is that I'd be in front of my booth, and of course I'd be meet and greeting everybody that walked by. Whether they went into the booth or not, that was irrelevant.
Sure.
I had a good time
Oh, yeah.
just talking to everybody.
Oh, I can imagine. Oh.
And I didn't realize how much of an influence I had on the children.
Oh.
I enjoyed what I did, and I used to have a little bit of a fan base back then where kids would come back and they'd be dressed up in their little cowboy outfit.
Oh.
But there's one, let me tell you, you know, it's an emotional story every time I tell it, so I'm going to be good here.
Okay.
This one child, first day that I met him, he had a cowboy hat on, and I think that was it. But in other words, we had a connection immediately. So he was there with his dad, and so I spent a couple of minutes with his son. And so the next year, he comes back with a vest, hat, and boots.
Oh.
So I spent a little bit more time with him, and the dad is crying. He's literally in tears because I'm spending 2 or 3 or 4 minutes with his son, and his son is so happy to be in my presence,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And then on the 3rd year, that he had the whole thing going. He had the chaps, he had the little rifle, he had the gun, the vest, he had the whole shooting match. So again, that's so right then and there, yeah, right then and there, well, yeah, I have this effect on children. So so that was the coolest thing out of the whole deal is that, and to this day, I know that I have an effect on the children that come in to Virginia City, and
Sure.
and that's what I do today also.
Oh, I don't know what to say. This is wonderful to hear that story
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that you've done.
Yeah. And then along the way, once I got into, well, my first studio, I built that in California.
Okay.
And that was in Pine Grove, California. And actually, what I did on my Facebook page, which is Doc Durden, I uploaded the first studio, and I think you've seen that.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the first studio, and that was in California. So I did that purposely for this showing. So in the event that anybody wanted to see the first studio, which involves about 13 buildings, this is how much I love the Wild Wild West. And so I made my own town. And, yeah.
You did.
Yeah, I made my own town, and we had some great fun. We had annual barbecue there for 10 years that I know of that I can remember. And we started out like 50 guests showed up, and that was good. And I hired a Western theater team to entertain my guests. Well, that went over real big. And then the next year I hired them back, and I told them that, you know what, when you come back, I'm going to have a building for you to work out of. And I did. So I built a hotel saloon, and then that's how that studio started. So I started building and build. Every year it got bigger and bigger. Well, my guests, the guests got bigger and bigger also. The next year I had probably 100 guests, and then the third year 200, and then it stayed right around 200. Any given time to be 200 guests there.
Oh, wow.
The governor's staff of Nevada showed up one year, which I really enjoyed. That was kind of neat to see.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So.
And then I had several people from Hollywood. I made friends along the way, and several of them were from Hollywood. And John Locke comes to mind immediately. Unfortunately, he passed a couple of years ago, but very good friend of mine. And he was doing like 150 features on. He started out with Broadway Crawford Highway Patrolman. He was the first officer in uniform on TV.
Okay.
So that's how he started. But he done a lot of westerns, and he used to fly up every year, and the entertainment would be every 15 minutes I'd have somebody new. As far as entertainment goes, every 15 minutes we somebody new coming on, and so anyway, that was quite a studio, and unfortunately, fortunately, it depends on how you look at it. That was sold about 3 years ago, and now that I'm in Nevada, this is the second studio, and I just bought a house recently in Virginia City. So I am fully vested in Virginia City. This is my 13th year, actually, as part of the entertainment in Virginia City. So,
oh, nice.
yeah, that kind of.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm really fascinated with Virginia City. The very first day that I got an invitation to come to Virginia City. We did a big thing in Bodie, the Friends of Bodie, and that was like 13 years ago. And we did a big deal in Bodie, and we did a reenactment at the 8,500 foot level with the different mines. One was the Hawaii mine, and there was another one but there was 200 shots fired because it was a reenactment. But that went so wonderfully well, and then I played a minister, hellfire and brimstone at the church. I had 6 shows to do in the church of Bodie, and there were approximately 5 minutes each sermon. What I was doing, I was getting them ready to go to the cemetery. So whatever I said was supposed to kind of spook them a little bit, but what I really enjoyed I really didn't know too much about hellfire and brimstone. I went on the internet to try to learn a little bit, but I kind of had to learn as I was going.
Sure.
But the last 2 performances I had a standing ovation, so I did something right. So
well, it sounds.
as a matter of fact, picture right back there.
Oh,
That's
wow.
me in Bodie in the church.
Oh.
Hellfire and brimstone. Yeah.
I'll overlay that so people can see that a little bit.
Yeah.
How fun!
Yeah.
Oh, how fun!
So the next week I got invited to go come up to Virginia City and check it out, and I did, and haven't left.
You haven't left.
Haven't left. It's just a feeling that you get. Can I explain it?
Sure. Well, I think Virginia City is very happy that you're here.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm certainly happy to be here.
Sure.
But I hope they do. I hope they are. Yeah.
Well, nice. If we could ask, how did you get the historical name of Wild Bill Hickok?
Good story.
That's a good story.
And that involved at Virginia City. The very first year, 13 years ago, I came to Virginia City, big tourist town, and spring, summer, and fall is just, you're kind of like walking like this down the boardwalk, a lot of people, and I get to meet them all. How wonderful is that?
Oh, that is
fun. People from all over the world, and what better spot to meet all these people than Virginia City?
Agreed.
While I'm there, I hear all the time, hey, there's Wild Bill. Hey, Wild Bill. Hey, there's Wild Bill. Wild Bill. Hey, Wild Bill. If I heard that once, I heard it hundreds of times.
Oh, okay.
Well, I realized immediately that if you're going to be in Virginia City, you need to be a character.
Okay.
Now, I had a Wild West theater team before I got to Virginia City. We did some good stuff, and we used to do like 4 shows a day when we were on location, going here and there. And I would change costumes on each skit, and I would become that character. Whatever that character was for that skit, that's who I would be.
Whoa.
Nothing Pacific. But when I got to Virginia City, you had to have a character, and what better person, in my opinion, to have Wild Bill Hickok as your character. Just the coolest thing. So I adopted that a year later, and I became Wild Bill Hickok.
Uh-huh.
And so when they say there's Wild Bill Hickok, you are right. However,
If they seen something else in me, I'm good with that too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, as long as they put a smile on their face,
Good.
I was good with that.
Yeah.
I was good with that. Sure.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Well, how fun.
Yeah, yeah.
What other presentations have you been around the area or California or in other states or countries that you've presented the Wild Bill Hickok character?
Well, for the most part, it's here.
Mm-hmm.
When we do get hired, we do, when I had the Wild West show and we got hired to do a show, we had different skits and different characters.
Mm-hmm.
However, now that I've done several shows at the Grand Sierra, and I've always been the Wild Bill Hickok character in one of those shows.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've always been very proud of that.
Sure.
Be able to perform at the Grand Sierra, which was kind of cool.
and then on the last show that I did there, I brought in Buffalo Bill Cody. So
Nice.
yeah, so actually, in the day back in the 1800s, Wild Bill Hickok and Buffalo Bill Cody were friends. They were legitimately friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we brought in that show at the last the show it had the Grand Sierra. But I enjoy that, and I enjoy the entertainment end of it, whether it's here, whether it's at the Grand Sierra, whether it's on Main Street or C Street. I just love meeting people and the entertainment part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen your performances, and you're awesome.
Thank you.
You
Thank
are
you.
awesome. Well, one of the demonstrations that you offer is a depiction of Wild Bill cracking that bullwhip.
The bullwhip.
Yeah.
Actually, not many people know this, but he was pretty proficient during the day. Mule skinner, and he was able to use the bullwhip, and so that came out in me. Mainly because with the bullwhip, you bring a lot of attention this way. And that's the main reason why I brought that. Being in the entertainment business, you want your audience to be looking this way.
Sure.
So, yeah,
Good
so,
point.
so what I did is I got involved with the bullwhips, and I've tried to get other people involved also, because it's a good part of the entertainment end of it.
And it gives the same audio sound as a gunshot. So I can be on Main Street and actually do a show, and I can do it anywhere, and it sounds like gunfire. And of course, all the tourists, they like the reenactment of the cowboys doing the gunfire and everything. But what they don't know much about the bullwhip. So I do a routine up there, and this is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time for a lot of people that actually see somebody that performs with a bullwhip.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and it's not, and you'll probably see this a little later. I'll do a little show for you.
Yay.
And so you get an idea, a little short 30-second deal.
Okay.
Give you an idea of what they sound like, and what I can do with the bullwhip. It's not just one crack, which sometimes you'll get from other cowboys, which is okay.
Sure.
But the idea is I have a little routine and use both hands, and it works out well.
How long did it take you to practice and get proficient at bullwhip cracking?
Well, I've been at it a short amount of time. I'm going to say I'm going to say 10 years. I belonged to the Wild West Actors Club back then. Matter of fact, my very first event was in Las Vegas, and I joined the Wild West Actors Club, and I was there for the first day, and this was at the Flamingo. And when I got there, boy, was I overwhelmed. They had gun spinning. They had knife throwing. They had hatchet throwing, marksmanship on both. They had gun handling. They had target shooting, and of course they had the bullwhips going. And the bullwhips, boy, they had a curtain that separated the bullwhippers from everybody else because everybody, a lot of noise. So I'm very curious, so I had to find out what was going on. So I went on the other side of the curtain, and boy, let me tell you, I just love what I saw. So about an hour later, I bought my first bullwhips. As a matter of fact, this one right here. This is the Schultz, and this goes back about 10 years anyway. And so anyway, I'm trying to. I got a little bit of instruction, and I'm trying to crack it and everything, with no success. I must have beat with no success for the whole day. And I'm pretty coordinated. I really am. I just couldn't figure it out. But eventually, I was able to figure it out, and of course, the repetition. You have thousands of these of repetition. No matter what you do, when you have the circus crack, which is the forward crack, you have 1,000 on each hand. What you learn on the right hand, you learn on the other hand. So it's 1,000 of these, and then 1,000 of these, and then the overhead, 1,000 of these. So it's a lot of work, but it comes natural now. It's just a natural thing for me just to go ahead and crack the bullwhips. But I'm a better now. I'm a very good instructor. Matter of fact, if I was to show you how to crack a bullwhip, my success rate is at 99%, that I will get you to crack this bullwhip the first time after 10 minutes of instruction.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Yes, and I didn't get that when I was learning. Well, you kind of like do this and do that, and good luck, all right? And I didn't have very good luck, but now that I know a little bit about the bullwhip and I know the rhythm, and I can show you anybody, give you 10 minutes of instructions, and then after that 10 minutes, you'll be able to crack the whip for the first time. So that's and I'm like I say 99% on that. So I'm good. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Well, I'm very impressed.
Yeah,
Very impressed. Well, back to your studios here. What inspired you for your production company? The name of your production company, Foothill Production Company.
Well, Foothill Production actually started with the first studio. I lived in the foothills. I lived at the 2,000 foot level in Pine Grove, California.
Okay.
So it was, and the name of the Wild West theater group was Foothill Vigilantes.
Oh, I love that name.
So it's all in the foothills,
Okay.
and so we're kind of like at the foothill of Mount Davis. So we're here at the foothills also. So I kept the name Foothill Productions. It's registered. It's my name, and I'll go forward with that name. And same with the Foothill Vigilantes. When I reenact the Vigilantes again, and that'll be coming probably. Even though I'm really busy this year trying to get phase 2 done with the studio, I'm trying to get the Vigilantes reunited again.
Oh.
And it was great fun. It was a lot of great fun. Learned a lot with my first theater team, going back to when I had the annual barbecues at the Triple D Ranch. With that theater group I hired to entertain my guests, they asked me to join. They knew I was retiring, and they asked if I would want to join their group. And I said, absolutely, I'm honored, thank you so much. And fortunately for me, he has some of the best actors that I've ever seen. Oh, these could be A-listers. These guys were good.
Nice.
So it was nice. So I was able to learn that
of some of the best reenactors that were out there.
Sure.
And I absolutely loved it. I'm studying this guy's character. I'm studying that guy's character. I'm studying you, and there's always something. There's something that I can use in my personality that would get me forward. All right. No matter how small it be, it's always somebody had something.
Right.
All right. And so then I was able to find a character, because when you first start out, I don't care who you are. When you first start out, you don't know who you are. You don't know what you're doing, and you just try to make it. So fortunate for me, I had all these great actors, and they were good. So I was able to get a little bit from him, and like I say, and form my own character.
Sure.
So that's how that got started, and then got involved with the movie making, or got involved with movies. Period. In Amador County in California, there are some low-budget filmmakers,
Okay.
and they asked me to if I would help them with a movie, you know, and absolutely. So I did about 12 low-budget movies, which had a lot of fun doing it. Certainly didn't make any money at it, but that wasn't it. It was just the fun of making those movies, and it was great. And then I had one medium production, a movie that was called The Life and Times of Jack London. It came to me. Yes, it did. It took a while. I haven't mentioned this in a long time. But The Life of Times of Jack London. This goes back to 1896 up there to Yukon when they had the gold strikes up there, and all the miners, so during that production I was cast as a preacher again, and my job was to get Jack London off his deathbed because he was dying of scurvy, and my job was to get him out of his deathbed. And how I would do that, I would tell him that there's a lot of miners out there that have a story to tell, and it's your job to tell that story. So you need to get off this bed, and that's kind of like how it went. So it took about 6 takes to get this right, and they're looking through the tapes, and they found out, okay, this is going to work. So as I'm getting changed, because they had about 2 or 3 feet of snow on the ground. We were in 2 cabins. One cabin was set up for the scene, and they did an excellent job with that. Then the other cabin didn't have any heat, water, or anything. And this is way out there, 2 feet of snow. And so anyway, put my coat on. Next thing I hear is a thundering applause. So I get a standing ovation from the cast and crew for that performance. Now, that's the only time it's happened, but the fact is, it did happen,
Yeah.
and I love talking about that. Any opportunity that I have.
Sure.
And then, of course, I had an HBO production. I did Deadwood, and what gave me great pleasure though was The Life and Times of Jack London.
Sure.
And that was my best, only because yeah.
Can you give our viewers your contact information? Maybe they might want to hire you. And
Well, yeah, that'd be great. One, Facebook. You need to go on there anyway to see the first studio. This kind of ties everything in. That'll be Doc Durden, D-O-C, Doc Durden, D-U-R-D-E-N. That's on Facebook. And then, of course, the email would be Doc, D-O-C, Durden, D-U-R-D-E-N, @yahoo.com. And I always get back with you. And phone number, is that appropriate? Or?
yeah, it's up to you, sure.
Phone number would be 775-544-3317. And you'll be able to get me just about, I'm better on the emails than on the phone. But I'll get back with you no matter what happens.
Sure,
I'll get back with you.
Sure.
Loud.
It's going to travel 750 miles an hour. It breaks the sound barrier. So what's happening, that you'll see this thing curl up. For the most part, it'll curl up like that, and then it's generating miles per hour.
Energy.
And then at the end, you see that popper at the end? That's traveling at least 750 miles an hour. And that makes the sound. It's like a jet by years ago when they first broke the sound barrier.
Yeah.
That big bang, right? Shattered windows here and there and everything. It's the same thing. That's when they first exceeded
The sound barrier.
at 750 miles an hour. Now I can generate 4 miles per hour if I put more energy into it, you know. But just a simple crack, just that easy, 750 miles an hour, or the circus crack, 750 miles an hour. And of course, the more energy you put into it, the louder the crack.
Wow! Yeah! Oh, that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank
And
you,
that's
thank
what
you.
most people don't see.
Yes,
What
exactly.
they'll see is the cowboy with a bullwhip. That's what he'll do.
Okay,
He's done.
he's done. Uh-huh. What a show.
Awesome.
Isn't that
But
cool?
you need more.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. You need more.
Well, thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, this has been so much fun. This has been so much fun.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, now, if you would like to be a guest on Psychic Creation History Series, you can contact me at my website, which is www.sandypsychicstones.com, or at my email address, which is admin@sandypsychicstones.com. Again, thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Yeah.
Very welcome. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Psychic Creations History Series. And remember, history is, what's my catchline? History created who we are today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.